Hey folks, welcome at last to the Nobunaga's Ambition series promised like 2 years ago for the MS Society of Canada donators. It seems like it's been forever, but I'm finally ready to settle in and start recording Nobunaga's Ambition Awakening. See how awake these guys are? Yeah. Oh, in the meantime, I'm realizing now I need to do something about a timer. Um, Great way to start a series. I usually use a timer that's like actually a YouTube video. For various reasons, not worth explaining. The easiest thing to do is just to open a YouTube video that is a timer, but my internet's down right now. So I will do a timer on my phone, which will make noise when time is up, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. And what this is a new series. That's what I should be focusing on. A new series from Koei Tecmo Games. Ko Shibusawa, who I don't know how actively involved he could be in these games anymore, but it's part of the historical simulation series. We know that. And it's Nobunaga's Ambition, which is trademark. Trademark Nobunaga Oda, 1540. 1540 would be not even remotely the right era. And here you see Nobunaga, he trips and falls, but he gets right back up and gets older and has a horse grow underneath him so that he can ride forward and slay his various enemies. On his 40th anniversary of his marriage with his wonderful wife, Kicho, he sits down and plans with a strategist what he's going to get her as a gift. Everyone kind of nods and people smirk, and then I think this is meant to be Okahazama. That's a common theme for Miss Kicho herself. It's like, hey, I'm going to just peek in and see what the plans are for her 40th wedding anniversary. Various people have plans on how they can defeat the Imagawa. Maybe it's not supposed to be Okahazama. Tell you in a minute here. Depends on whether it's raining when the battle starts. Yep, okay, it's supposed to be Okahazama. Okahazama is the big fight where Nobunaga sort of pulls off a stunning victory over a much larger foe and becomes a power in Japan, which also involves a castle growing behind him, which I thought was part of a different battle in Ubiyama, but maybe that wasn't a castle growing. Either way, cool intro. Not the coolest, but pretty cool. Nobunaga's Ambition Awakening. So off screen, I did a little bit of, I played basically far enough in the scenario that we're going to do to get the first historical event to trigger, just to kind of ensure that it would. We're going to figure out the best way we can do this to see actual historical events. But as with some previous Nobunaga's Ambition games, like if I really want to see all the historical events for a force, I may have to play through a certain scenario up to a certain point, and then jump to another scenario. Because historical events in this game, the trail of historical events tends to get broken because the other AI forces don't necessarily do the things necessary for historical events to happen. Nevertheless, we've been waiting a while to do this, and I had mentioned, I know it's a little unfair in a sense because it's like 2 years after people first started donating for this series, and I'm finally now getting to it. And I had a window of about a month where people, if they were actively watching my channel and noticed the videos up, would have a chance to submit their characters. But it didn't quite happen for some folks who I think probably intended to donate. They didn't just get their name associated with it because of the dollar amount. There were folks who were regulars who did not come in and submit their character. There's a couple of characters I built based on old characters. There's some characters where I couldn't find the old characters. And they're not going to be in the game. The one thing that I changed, just for my own amusement, Froxus Nelock, I added in as most beloved officer Kalinawari Sanada, because I remember Kalinawari Sanada. There's the whole weird plot development in the previous Nobunaga's Ambition LP, where she defected to the Oda from the Takeda, and my headcanon was that Kalinawari Sanada was the one who arranged for her to get back into the clan without having to be executed. So yeah, here's your characters. Here's your outside created characters. It's going to make the game much easier than it probably should be, having all these created characters. But I mean, at the hell, I'm still going to have fun. I'm looking for a certain level of challenge. I'm not looking for it to be like frustrating or impossible, and I'm not that familiar with the game. So we'll have to see what happens. And who knows? Maybe when we win the game, we'll unlock Atelier Riza portraits, because that was an unexpected. The reason Lethal and I are playing Atelier Riza is because Atelier Riza portraits showed up in Romance of the Three Kingdoms. So we're going to start a new game, and it's going to be the same scenario that I was playing off screen, just to get some basic familiarity with the menus. We're going to play Muskets Arrive. After the introduction of firearm technology in Usumi and Tanegashima, use of weapons, aka Wappet, spread throughout all Japan wrestling, completely transformed the realities of war. In Owari, Nobunaga Nobuhide Oda's eldest son. What? Okay, now I've got my my phone thinks that it's navigating. Sorry. Kiposhi would soon come of age. He would later take the name of Nobunaga, and these firearms would become an indispensable tool in his quest to unify the country. So, we actually, our scenario options have us starting a little later, or yeah, like our earliest scenario is a tiny bit later than the earliest scenarios in some of the other Nobunaga's Ambition games. Otherwise, it should be very familiar to you. As ever, we've got this one clan at the very southern tip of Hokkaido, and the rest of Hokkaido is not in play in the game. There's various scenarios that you can do, including some hysterical or fictional ones, and ones that I got as DLC. But they are arranged. Even the fictional ones are arranged in sequence, and this is the earliest one we can do. So let's do it. There are recommended forces you play as, but I guess it's just recommended because they've got a whole description of what's going on. But the Nagao are not recommended, but I, for one, really want to see Hadokage Nagao become the leader of Japan, right? I think that's where we're heading for this.
Shouldering both name and clan, I will advance.
Shouldering both name and clan, I will advance. There's no doubt in my mind. We'll be doing everything in our power to make Hadokage fucking Nagao the leader of Japan. There's no way that we have any plans to switch and have something else happen before it's over. So, he's got 3 alliances and 1 vassal. So let's jump in. He's even got a landmark. Good for him. What have we got going on over here, though? I'm not switching, but
Let's be off. Battle is
I accidentally turned it down on my ears instead of up. I don't think. Yeah, he's got a landmark. He has no vassals. Nobuhide. And one of these days I should play as the Hojo, and if I do, I'd want to play a really early scenario before they've taken over the Kanto. Main reason I never play as the Hojo is I don't know that much about them. They enter the Samurai Warriors kind of story at around the time that everyone else gangs up to take them out. But they're the primary power in the Kanto region, which makes them kind of like unbeatable. Like it's sort of easy mode, especially if you give yourself created officers for extra fun. Like they've got such good territory to start with. They're just the reason they don't take over Japan in any scenario is because they're not that aggressive. And then in any AI scenario, whatever power controls the Kanto ends up taking over, because the Kanto is like what's the breadbasket of Japan? The Date are what the hell are the Date? There's the Date. Their logo looks a little unfamiliar to me. These guys have their like cool horse logo. And there's one. The Otomo. Is it the Mori? The Uchi? The Uchi-Kuchi? The Imago are a recommended clan to play as here. But again, we're going to play as the Usugi. I mean, the Nagao, excuse me.
Let us tame these turbulent times.
So we are going to difficulty custom. Oh, I do need to change some settings because I think I shut off some of the tutorial stuff, and I actually want to turn tutorials on so that you guys can see them too, because it's kind of explaining the game. We won't necessarily have to follow them. The tutorials in this game take forever to get through, but I still think we probably want to actually go through them as part of this Let's Play, just so we can give the game a chance to explain itself. Let's back out one more time, and then jump in one more time, so that we can hear this guy's awesome voice.
Well then, shall we set off?
Shall we set off? Mm-hmm. Alright, let's start.
It all starts here.
With me, Arukage Nagao, the man who's clearly going to be the ruler of Japan. Reign of the Sengoku era daimyo. Originally, a daimyo's income consisted of rice and other crops collected as tribute. However, since the administration of his domain was divided among his retainers across their fiefs, he would only be capable of collecting tributes from his immediate vicinity. Daimyo would consequently impose provincial taxes, such as farmland taxes, property taxes, and tolls. More powerful daimyo could levy taxes on their retainers, the common people, and temples, essentially the entirety of their territory, which let them enjoy a considerably large income. With the propagation of commerce and development of the mining industry, higher prices of the commerce, and from storage of the range, potatoes made from the Lord. This is what gave rise to the as we know them. How should production increase with land development? What matter should... Blah, blah, blah. Sorry, it's scrolling a little faster than I thought it was, and if there was a way to control the speed, I didn't find it. Tenbun 12, 1543. Oh, never mind. I was about right. I said 1560. I am in the right area. A foreign ship drifted ashore at Tanegashima, Osumi, and brought upon a new weapon. Brought upon a new weapon? Okay. Brought upon a new weapon that will revolutionize the tactics of the battlefield. On the battlefield. Of the battlefield. By the battlefield. The chief of the Tanegashima island, Tokitaka Tanegashima, purchased 2 muskets, had his blacksmith study it, or them, and succeeded in manufacturing the weapon on the island. A year before this event, the leader of the Date clan, Tanamune, was imprisoned by his son, Haramune. This triggered a conflict that divided the clan into 2. Divided into 2? Meanwhile, in Mino, Toshimasa Saito exiled the Mino agent Yoranori Toki, making himself the lord of the land. The overthrowing of lords was happening everywhere in the nation. Is that the Viper? Is that the guy who's like supposed to be our dad in Neo 2? I'm not sure. Meanwhile, at Harakage Nagao. Harukage Nagao. The council will now begin! This guy's going to be our lord throughout the LP. Like, we're going to faithfully serve this guy for the entirety. If this video goes 300, 400 episodes, we're going to be working for Harukage Nagao the entire time. I promise you this, folks. With every fiber of my being, there's no way that some other guy's going to take over this clan. While we cannot currently claim greatness, my ambitions will not be sated with this paltry plot. This entire nation will be mine.
All of it? Well, you certainly dream big, but I suppose that's all the more reason to lend my support. Our clan is still much too weak. We must expand our domain, grow our forces, and command the respect of every daimyo if we are to take claim of the nation. Of domination.
Expansion means usurping into the clan's territory, after which war is sure to follow. We must hold constant in our minds a plan to achieve victory.
Indeed. With that said, how shall we begin? How to accomplish national unification? First, take a look at the map. Take a look at my girlfriend. She's the only one who got
That's the map, all right.
In this age of war, the land has been divided by various daimyo.
Divided by various daimyo?
Laying claim to their own territories. By taking their lands, we will bring ourselves that much closer to uniting the nation under one rule. We must rally our strength and defeat our enemies.
When you march a unit to an enemy castle, they will begin a castle assault upon arrival. Occupy the castle, and its surrounding territory will become ours.
The enemy will dispatch their units towards us as well. so we must assemble sufficient fighting power before launching an attack.
And actually, in my off-screening, combat is... I just didn't really get into any. So this is a thing that I'm going to have to kind of figure out on the fly.
A daimyo house will collapse if all its castles are lost, and its territories and officers will be taken. Take care that your clan does not suffer such a fate.
Occupy.
It will take countless battles to attack every castle within the nation. I wonder how much time it will take to achieve such a lofty task.
Worry not. We can reign over the entire nation even without destroying every other clan. Allow me to detail the available methods.
Moving on, then. Wait, I thought you were going to detail the available methods.
I was. Then you said moving on. This is your fault that this was interrupted.
Okay. I'm the daimyo. How to govern or whatever.
Ruling your domain is the foundation of all else. It is of utmost importance when waging war. Allow me to explain.
See this glowing patch of land here? Much like Katsugeyama Castle, the residence of a clan's daimyo is referred to as the main base. The other castles are governed by retainers appointed as lords. The lords are responsible for governing their castles, while the daimyo is directly responsible for the main base. Without their command, development will not occur.
I see. I must develop the main base myself and trust the lords of the other castles to develop theirs. But must I give them complete independence?
There are times when a lord will seek out your directions. When that happens, make sure to give them your orders. But let's speak more of that another time.
But I want to talk about it now.
Oh, okay.
Next, take a look at this. The castle controls the surrounding land, which is called a country.
Country, eh?
Or county, eh? As you can see, our main base is surrounded by several counties.
Like Mayo, or, Kerry, Meath, or Westmeath, Longford, etc. Carrickfergus, Northern Ireland, sorry.
A county sends its income and gold to the daimyo, and the harvest is stored by each castle for units to use when marching. Entrusting both the castle and its country to a county to a retainer will promote further development of the domain, thus increasing income and strengthening the castle.
So the castles and counties other than my main base can be further fortified by giving them over to my retainers.
Exactly. We call the governing of a domain by retainer dominion. The dominion is ruled by the changelings, so be careful and make sure you get blood samples. Please observe with care the state of our clan's dominions. And make sure to hire plenty of Jem'Hadar. What would you like to discuss next, Navorta?
JG racks his mind. Are there other Dominion races I should be thinking of? Sorry. Star Trek references, guys, sorry. Station of Retainers.
Retainers can hold a variety of different stations. Let's see, what were they again?
From lowest to highest, the 6 stations are Chief, Infantry Leader, Samurai Leader, Captain, Senior Retainer, and Senior Officer. Promotion to higher stations requires gaining honor. Those who have not shown results deserve no such recognition.
Oh, we were talking about Star Trek, now we can talk about Klingon stuff.
The honor earned by participating... Yeah, this guy would be Star Trek clan, look at him. Fan, I should say. The honor earned by participating in battles, governing counties, and so on will open their path to greater things.
Yes, and a retainer must have the station of infantry leader or above to be assigned a county as a domain.
As a retainer's station increases, you will be able to appoint them to higher positions like Lord and Regent. As seen in these blobs off to the side.
Make sure to put officers who have caught your eye to work so they can gain honor quickly. Having them compete with each other may prove a good motivator.
It must be difficult for these retainers to continue working so tirelessly without losing heart. But I wouldn't say that out loud to this guy. What would you like to discuss next?
That's enough for now. Let me see if I followed everything. Domains are given to retainers to improve the territory and gain strength, which we then use to conquer enemy lands. Have I got that right? We can then do unification and game clear.
Precisely. You must first attend to the management of dominions and civil affairs to increase our clan's strength. I've arranged for your page to provide a detailed explanation, so please inquire with them.
Good. Taking all this into account, we will strengthen our counties and then the entire nation. Let's all move forward together.
It goes without saying, our destiny is with the Nagao clan. Certainly that clan's name will never change. We await your command.
Inspiring words. May the proposals of our exemplary retainers be adopted with vigor. We shall strive together to unify the land.
Yes, may the ambitions of the Nagao clan be realized in full.
Hoo-gow, have mercy. Self-high-five. With your permission, my lord, I would like to provide my counsel on what should be done to strengthen the county, or country. I hope these basic measures for managing your territories will be of use to you.
Your page's advice will appear as submissions in the list on the left side of the screen. Follow their instructions during the early stages of the game to learn the ropes. Their submissions will display the icon. If you don't require a tutorial, it can be turned off in settings. The list can be selected by holding R1 and pressing L. First, please select the submission marker with the thingy symbol from the activities list on the left side of the screen. Okay, use R1 to get over here. Dominion.
Developing your counties by bestowing domains on retainers is vital for increasing your power. Let's try our hands at assigning a dominion. Good God.
It's Diamond Dallas page, guys. Probably the joke would have been more fun for the people who got it if I never said that. But the reason I'm doing that stupid-ass voice is because this is Diamond Dallas page. Giving counties to retainers, Dominion, will allow them to develop their counties as you see fit or they see fit, thereby increasing your power. One thing I have picked up on, and I think there's policies you can do to change this, but the economic management in this game, it's not so much that it's simplified, is that it is you have a lot of control over the daimyo's castle, and you just don't get to micromanage other areas. It's like there's lots of little things that you can tweak in the daimyo's castle, and the same mechanics are at play in the other castles. It's just that you don't get to just go around micromanaging every single base that you own, which will probably make the game move a bit faster compared to other games, to be honest, in the Nobunaga's Ambition series. Although micromanaging every little castle is one of my favorite things about the game. It's these Let's Plays take forever, but I just enjoy going in there and tinkering around with every castle. Anyway. Doing so will cause the what to do next submission to be proposed. When you execute a command, the explanation will be displayed again. Follow the guide and give it a try. An outline of general gameplay can be viewed by selecting basic matters in the activity list. If you would like to review the results, please take a look there. Controls, and here's some controls. It's a bit fidgety, actually, but broadly speaking, avoid ever hitting the triangle button unless you know that you mean to, because that will get time advanced. So, I'm famous for, in Italia Rizza, for example, I'm trying to figure out what's going on, and we'll jump into, photo mode or something, because there's, 800 buttons on the PS4 controller, and I don't know which one to hit. In this game, there's going to be a certain amount of, how do I get from this menu to that menu? I'm just telling you it's going to happen. Apologies in advance. But the main thing is never hit the triangle button unless you actually want time to advance. Hint, you can explain the general flow of the game. Your page can do that. For the lift located on the left side of the screen, you can always ask them if you're not sure how to proceed. If you're confused about something, there's a help topics. Basic controls. Let's try our hands at assigning a dominion. Or basic matters. You can read hints on how to proceed the game. Well, this is what we just did, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So we do want to appoint, and we want to give dominion. Dominion. Selecting counties. A daimyo's house domain can be given as fiefs to retainers. However, these retainers cannot be assigned to control the clan's main base. Exclude your main base. You can give them to officers. Counties and castles outside your main base will not improve without a landholder. So be sure to apply. Part of having all these created officers is that even if every single officer is not like a whiz-bang, incredible political 100-pole development whiz, our lands are going to... It's a bit of an easy mode having these created officers, because like our lands will be developing more rapidly than other lands where, you know, if they've only got half the officers we do, they can only really pick a couple of bases to focus on. Counties with no landholder will have an exclamation mark symbol. Recommend you appoint officers to these first. Landmarks. When increasing development rate of castles and counties with landmarks, you will be able to seize both and raise favorite landmarks. Prioritize officers assigned to counties that have landmarks. I don't think I knew anything about... I don't think I was paying too much attention to landmarks off screen. But it didn't really matter because I just put everywhere there were people. I put officers. So in off-screen world, this place already has retainers in charge of every single spot except here. And, selecting retainers. Let's select an officer to give the fief to. Ability. Officers whose abilities exceed their lords. Affinity. Officers who have good affinity with their lord. Once a landholder is assigned, they cannot be changed until System Reform Level 2 policy is issued. I'm going to need to get that one fairly early, too, because you lock... It's interesting, like, it's not just like a loyalty penalty, but like they treat it like you literally don't have the right within the culture of your clan to remove somebody from a territory that you've gifted them, just willy-nilly. And it's kind of realistic in one sense. Like, if a samurai daimyo always has the right to take territory away from a vassal and give it to another vassal. But, like, if you're doing that constantly and it's not based on any, like, there's no reason for it. Like, you know, oh, you lost in a battle or you didn't deliver your taxes. Like, you're just constantly changing people's territories. It goes beyond, like, your daimyo being unhappy. Like, it's going to get you killed. your samurai being unhappy. Like, you're going to get, like, overthrown. So in this game, they make it significantly harder to just go around reassigning people all the time, which, from a gameplay perspective, can be a little frustrating, but it also feels a little bit more realistic. Anyway, castle's abilities are decided primarily by the lord and supplemented by the landholder. Officers who meet the conditions in selecting officers will increase your castle's abilities. So, like officers, a castle's abilities are leader, value, intelligence, and pull. These abilities factor into civil affairs, marches, and other actions performed in individual castles. Higher castle abilities make for stronger... Well, that's weird. So castles also have those stats. This is the same as before. Alright. So we have different characters with different loyalty. And Grimith is basically just about ready to go into open rebellion from the very beginning. The people that I gave the lowest overall loyalty scores to, based on prior builds, Grimith is, like, sort of by design in these prior Let's Plays, Grimith Reaper is a pain in the ass. Like, he's a squeaky wheel. He's kind of built himself in a prior LP, and I've since, like, kind of recreated that same approach a few times over. He's this, like, genius architect, but he's, like, just kind of flaky, and it's difficult to keep him happy. Risaru Toriyama, who's the character, it was submitted many years ago by Lethal Feline, and I just kept using the same model and general build. And Ald, those three just kind of came out. They didn't go out of their way to build a character who was, like, going to be easy to keep satisfied. Like, some other people made a point of, like, I want my character to be, like, super loyal. I don't want them to ever, like, defect. Grimith was kind of the opposite. He wanted a character who was going to be a pain in the butt, and I think I don't think Lethal made a conscious decision to do that, but like his old build that I've carried forward from year to year is a bit of an eccentric. And Ald, I'm not sure why he came out so unhappy. But we can go into... Can I get to it? Yeah, I'd have to come up here to just get to an officer info list. And so he has no man lacks for ambition. I think that's just what you have when your character's basic... Like there's a rebelliousness level that you go from like 1 to 20, and with Grimith it's just he's not like maxed out, but he's like at a similar level to like I think he's got the same basic like rebelliousness level as is a quantified stat for his character as he's a Hide Matsunaga, who's like a famous traitor of the period who switched sides several times over. And, you know, fought Nobunaga, then worked for Nobunaga, then fought Nobunaga, then worked for him again, and finally was killed on, like, his second time betraying Nobunaga. So, Grimith actually has kind of a similar... And, this guy is just similar. No man lacks for ambition. No man lacks for ambition. I think if you have a score over a certain amount, you get that stat as a negative, and Lethal doesn't actually. He just doesn't have anything that's building his loyalty up. Like, here's a guy, like, you start getting, because this guy's a captain and he doesn't have a castle, so he's pissed. Lethal, aka Rosario Toriyama, is only an infantry leader, so he doesn't have a high enough rank in the clan to be grumbling about not having a castle. But then Ald does. I think that's part of... No, actually, he's chosen to be a captain and give him a +1. So I'm kind of not sure how Ald ended up on the bottom of this. But I think part of it is just like if we go down to Shaman C, loyalty as a samurai is lot. That's like the opposite. If you have your rebelliousness stat is extra low, then you get a plus loyalty bonus in this, and that's what happened there. So anyway, we didn't get very far in this video, did we? That's just kind of what happens. So we're still in the midst of the tutorials, but I've given you a basic rundown of why some of our officers are already ticked off and some of them are pretty happy. And when we come back next time, we're going to start assigning officers to domains and maybe actually advance the game clock. See you guys next time.